Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Justin and Justice Show. It's plugged in from YAA Electric, and today we're going to be talking about the latest EV market share numbers when it comes to US sales in the third quarter of 2022. But if that's not exciting enough for you, I am really excited myself for the unveil of the Polestar 3, which is happening today at either 12 or 1 p.m. Eastern. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to check, but no matter what, I'm excited for that. And yeah, what else are we going to talk about today, Justice? I know Hyundai's on your mind, maybe a few other things.
Yeah, we got Hyundai, we got Honda's massive investment, we got GM looking to conquer the entire EV world. There's lots of going on today.
Oh yeah, let's start with Hyundai because they're investing what, $12 billion? Is that the number? Is that
$12.6 billion
that's a lot of
to
money.
get,
That's
yeah, by
12.6.
2030. So it's over a little bit of
Okay,
time. So it's over a little bit of time, and they're
7 years.
investing that to become software driven vehicles.
Ah,
So, like Tesla does, they want to start writing their own code. They want to start doing over the air updates. They want to start being programmable. So, different scales will also mean different software capabilities. And that's where they see the future going. That's where a lot of people see the future going. Volkswagen has already announced this, Toyota, General Motors. Um, so Tesla's always written their own code. So, it's going to take some time, but it's definitely a transition in the way things are. I know some people are kind of worried that this will go into subscription model,
it probably will.
which
That's how they're going to get their money back.
perhaps, I mean, Tesla definitely does that.
Yeah.
With a lot of their products. So it would not be out of the realm of possibility for them to turn a lot of this into subscription. I don't know if it's going to be as simple as heated car seats or if it's going to be something more like autonomous driving,
Yeah.
um, like Tesla does. So, I mean, it's a big investment, and it's clearly the way OEMs are seeing the world moving forward from here.
Yeah, I would imagine it's going to be more in the realm of autonomous driving. But what I want to emphasize is that if you're starting from scratch, trying to do your own in-house code writing and engineering for this type of software technology, it's going to take at least 5 years. Now, here's what I bet we're going to start hearing about pretty soon, anytime now. Hyundai hiring former Tesla engineers and things like that. And
Well,
then we're
and
going to have to
Apple.
start, yes, and others. Then we're going to have to start seeing if there are any, accusations being tossed about on the Twitter. Uh, was it Xpeng, Xiaopeng, the Chinese car brand.
Yeah.
Someone had been accused of stealing some of Tesla's trade secrets, and I hope that does not happen with any other
Well,
automakers. But they're
that
trying really hard to catch up to Tesla, so they're going to be tempted to
Well,
bend the
that's the
rules.
Chinese model. They don't really consider it stealing, right? They don't have the same view of intellectual property that we do. They see it as sort of open source, build upon those who've come before them. So it's a shift in thinking, and I think definitely in the West we go, "Hey, you're stealing our stuff," and um, in China especially, they go, "We're building off of what you've done," which is how humanity works. You don't reinvent the wheel every time you want to make a car. You already know how the wheel works, so you use it. Um, that's sort of their philosophy. So sure, there will be some of that involved there.
Yep, I suspect so. Um, we'll see. But I drive a Hyundai myself, and honestly, I'm pretty impressed with what they call HDA 2, Highway Drive Assist 2. It's highway autopilot. Just like with autopilot with Tesla, you have to keep your eyes on the road. You're supposed to keep your hand on the steering wheel, and if you don't, it nudges you like every 30, I don't know, 30 seconds to 1 minute. Because it does turn off sometimes randomly. If the lines disappear on the road, it's not quite as good as Tesla's autopilot. But I would say, having experienced both, I've experienced Tesla autopilot a lot, haven't experienced full self-driving beta, but it's impressively similar. It's not just like lane centering. It's quite capable. It does lane changes for you. All you got to do is turn on the blinker. I'm interested to find out more
That's
about
why
who
that doesn't
who
work in
engineered that.
California.
What do you mean?
Well, we don't use blinkers, so that's why
That's
it just doesn't work here.
yes, good point, good point. Yeah, I wonder who engineered that for Hyundai, HDA and HDA2. And I know there's
Well,
apparently an HDA 1.5 where Hyundai, like, took away some capability, I don't know.
well, I know right now it's been a lot of pull out of the box from another engineer and try to make it plug and play and work. And I think the most obvious failure in that has been the ID4, right?
Oh, that's true, the ID4. There's
Which is all those like they're just not meshing together.
yeah, the Electric Viking, I believe, on YouTube has a really good video out about that. A lot of people pointing out that Volkswagen Group seems to have abandoned VW ID4, at least the 2022 model, abandoned trying to fix the very flawed software that exists with the infotainment system, navigation. It's very laggy. Sometimes it just turns off and stays off while you're driving. It has some pretty crazy problems, that ID4. And I almost bought one, so I'm glad I didn't. But if you're looking into the ID4 for the 2023 model, the US built ID4, it appears to be so much better than the early builds. So I would not discourage anyone from looking at the 2023 ID4 built here in America. But yeah, that is
Well,
still an interesting thing to consider.
this has also been a problem with Rivian. There's a lot of Rivian videos out there of people getting into the vehicle and the screens aren't starting up on them. So you'll have all the sounds, it'll do motion, but none of your screens work. So, and there's quite a few of those videos out there from Rivian, and they have definitely done the software out of the box model.
Yeah.
So, and their integration of Alexa is awful
Oh,
from all the
yeah.
videos I've seen as well. Like it's sometimes it'll connect to the most recent device that you've used Alexa on. So if that means it's your Echo Dot in your house while you are driving, it will communicate with your house before coming back to your truck.
And
So
which model is that?
that's the R1T.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah. So I mean, there are definitely hiccups when you're doing by the box software and not writing your own code. So I think it's really smart of Hyundai and a lot of these other companies to get into the make it for your vehicle, do your own thing. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. And other news before we dive into EV market share updates, here's one more page I'd like to share with everyone. Like I said, I'm excited because today the Polestar 3 is going to be officially unveiled in just a few hours. Not sure the time zone, but it's either 12 or 1 p.m. So we've got a resource here that we are going to jump on it and fill you in with all the details. We do have some leaked images, including the one behind me that Polestar itself had released of the Polestar 3. And I'm really excited about this. If it was just like, I don't know, $15,000 cheaper, at least as far as what we expect it to cost, I would be way more interested in it and might even have considered trading up from an Ionic 5 to a Polestar 3. But if it's going to go for about 70 grand, which is where I really expect it to start, that's out of my price range. Not willing to do that. But Polestar 3, I'm excited because the Polestar 2 has been a smash hit. It has they've delivered 30,000 EVs in 2022 worldwide. So that's nothing like Tesla, but still it's impressive. Got to remember that Polestar is the EV sibling to Volvo, and Volvo itself is going all electric, so they're getting closer and closer together. But the Polestar 3 is going to have a different electric platform than the Polestar 2. It's going to have the next generation of battery and electric motor technology. So I'm looking forward to what they're going to share with us today. If you want to check this out, I'll drop a link in the chat. The live premiere, we got a link to it on our page. But Justice, are you looking forward to the Polestar 3?
I am. I am. I'm. It's very intriguing. I like the Polestar 2 already, so this one looks even more exciting. So I will be trying to catch it live myself, which is at 1 p.m. Eastern, to clarify.
Okay,
Um,
awesome. That's good to know. That means I can
so
make it.
I, yeah, yeah, yeah. If it was at 12 Eastern, that would mean it's in the middle of the Justin and Ray show.
Yeah, I'll be on the
Uh,
big show today, guys. So looking forward to that.
So good thing it's at 1 and we can catch it live. I'm very much looking forward to it. I love the Polestar. So
And this image here is
see,
the Precept concept. So this is not the Polestar 3, but this is the concept car that Polestar has said their future design language will be influenced by. And I don't know if you can see the picture behind me. I really like what we're seeing so far from the Polestar 3. It's my kind of minimalism. I like it a lot. But what do we know about it so far? I'll go through this real quick for you guys. Maybe we'll make Friday a show largely
yeah.
about this. We'll see. But new powertrain. Polestar has said it's going to have a target range of 372 miles on the more generous WLTP cycle. I estimate, based on past comparisons, that that'll translate to between 330 and 350 miles of range on the EPA cycle. That would put it just a nudge above the Model Y. I've got a feeling it's going to cost at least 5,000 more than the Model Y, though. I don't know. I think they're going to try to really push this as premium. The Model Y is premium, but on Polestar's own website about the Polestar 3, they call it premium over and over again. So they're really shooting pretty high for the luxury standard.
And at
Yeah,
only $5,000 more, that could work really well for them. So we'll see how that pricing works.
especially if Tesla opens up that supercharger network, so I can stop thinking about how much better Tesla's charging capabilities are. But Polestar recently said in a press release that over time they're going to offer autonomous highway piloting powered by the best-in-class lidar sensor from Luminar and centralized NVIDIA computing power. So over-the-air updates definitely going to be a part of the Polestar 3 because they plan to ramp up its autonomous capabilities. And best of all, in my opinion, it's going to be built here in America. So it looks like it will qualify for at least half of the new EV tax credits. The Polestar 2 does not because I believe it's built in China, isn't it?
Uh, is it China? Yeah, it's not built here. I
I'm going to
know
look it up. Where is the Polestar 2 built? Um, it is made in China. Yes, indeed.
that is China.
So, because Geely, is it Geely or Geely?
I always pronounce it Geely, but
Okay, let's just go with that. Geely is the owner of both Volvo and Polestar since what, like 2015, 2017,
yeah,
something like that when they bought it out. So it's great news that the Polestar 3 will be made in South Carolina. Good for the tax credit. Yeah, but the Model Y will also be qualifying for the tax credit as long as the EPA certifies it as an SUV, which they're very likely to do, and as long as it stays under 80 grand, which you could add full self-driving, red paint, fancy wheels, and your Model Y would be over 80 grand. But otherwise, it should stay under the limit.
I don't think most people add full self driving anymore.
Yeah,
I think too many people have gotten sort of burned by that so far.
yeah. I'm to the point where I would consider if I ever bought a Tesla, I would consider going for the monthly subscription when I need it, but not
Yeah,
buying it outright.
yeah, the
So
monthly subscription, so you can pay for it when it actually fully comes out, and not
yes,
paying for something that is going to happen in the future sometime, probably.
yep. I kind of agree with this comment. They're all great and they're all expensive, but no one is really pushing the envelope anymore. Kind of agree with that. We may see that change in the next few years. I know Jordan's in the chat talking about battery density, and as we see battery technology improve, 4680 cell hasn't yet really changed the game like it was supposed to, but it might still in the future. Um, we've got solid state batteries coming out first with Toyota and BMW. Toyota saying they're going to bring it into the game with plug-in hybrids. There are some advancements that could really just change the game completely, but not in 2023. That would be like 2025 timeframe. So I keep telling people that EVs aren't going to be adopted quite as quickly as some would hope. I wish that wasn't the case, but they're too expensive. Charging infrastructure is still just beginning to be built out. But I think in 2 years' time, we'll be in a much better place. I sure hope so.
Yeah, I think we will. And to the comment that no one's pushing the envelope, I think that's more of a desensitivity to progress.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, we sort of there's been a lot of advancement in the last 2 to 3 years, enormous advancement, and we just sort of have gotten used to these
That's
kind
a
of
good point.
advancements. It's the Apple mindset, right? Every year you
Good
need
point.
to come out with something real. Well, Apple hasn't done any real updates in years. They're just incremental, so people get bored with it. But really, if you look at the last 5 years, enormous advancements in
Yeah,
technology. We just get so desensitized to it
that's a
that we
very
just
good
go,
point.
it's boring. Oh, it's but it takes time to get things online. And the only way you're going to have something every year is if people are literally just holding back technology in order to release it every
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, that's a good point, and thank you for that great perspective. And without going into it further, I'll say that we got to remember the 2013 Nissan Leaf. I just looked it up. 2013 Nissan Leaf had about like what 87 miles of range, something like that, and it had a 24 kilowatt hour battery pack. I mean, even the 2023 Kia Niro electric um, has pretty small battery pack, like 64 kilowatt hours, but it goes 250 miles on a charge. So things are improving. But let's move on
Yeah,
to market share, shall we?
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I
today's
wonder who
headline.
won.
Yeah, Tesla really is the EV leader still, but things are getting interesting, and it's really just fascinating to see how supply chain shortages are affecting every automaker, including Tesla. But some automakers much worse than others. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. This is a resource that I published months and months ago. Lots of people seem to be enjoying it. And I'm working on the update right now. The numbers are updated, still got to update the graphs, but the latest Q3 2022 EV market share numbers are out. Let me just skip to what matters, okay? Automotive news just yesterday. They're the leader in EV, not EV, but the leader in automotive media. They estimated, based on I'm guessing the calculations of the analysts they employ, that Tesla's U.S. sales were about 114,000 in the third quarter. That would be slightly down from the second quarter, but that's not a huge surprise considering just what every automaker is going through right now.
Yeah.
If that turns out to be true, which that's not confirmed, that's their estimate. Tesla does not release sales numbers by geography. Uh, that would mean that Tesla's EV market share dropped from 66% in the second quarter to 61% in the third quarter. That is not a massive drop. It is a drop, but that is what we would expect. And I would bet even Elon Musk would think that's not a bad thing because he has said many times that they want to encourage competition in the electrification of the automotive industry. So, Justice, I'm guessing you probably agree with my take there, but what do you think?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not a huge drop. I know for a fact Elon would like to see it more. He's trying to position the company as something more than a car company.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even think cars are the future of Tesla. So I know he welcomes competition. That's what he stated from the beginning. So, 61%, still 61% of the market. I mean, which is huge for a what is still almost a startup company.
Yes, yes, that is true. I would say they're transitioning out of the startup company realm, but when you got to think about how extremely rare it is for any automaker to rise to the level of the legacy OEMs, it is truly impressive because so many have tried and failed, but now we've got so many more coming in as mobility becomes basically a technology thing. Lucid,
Yeah.
Rivian, uh, dozens of Chinese companies. So many to talk about. But I want to highlight the important numbers here. So, fully electric vehicles, according to our estimates and the numbers released from the automakers, which I'll scroll down to in a minute, fully electrics had about 5.5% market share in the third quarter. That is roughly the same as in the second quarter, but up from 3.1% 1 year ago. And Ford had a lot of success in the past quarter. So EV sales increased in September by 197% year over year. That is impressive. A lot of that's because of the successes of the Mustang Mach-E, which they've sold a lot of. I'll get to those numbers in a second, but also the F-150 Lightning. It is now all going all out on deliveries with as many as they can make. 8,760 have been delivered since their launch this summer. And yeah, that's what we're looking at right now. Let me scroll down to some other numbers. Here you guys can see how EV market share, this is among new car sales in the United States only, how it has changed over time. Yeah, pretty interesting how it's leveled out in 2022, but that is not because of lack of demand. To
No.
prove that, all you got to do is look at the wait list times for the Kia EV6, Ioniq 5, Tesla, etc. Yeah. Any thoughts when you're looking at this little chart right here, Justice?
Two thoughts. One, like you said, it's not lack of demand. People are out there. We just talked on Monday about the Chicago Auto Show bringing in all the EVs because they were sold out over the weekend doing the demos. The demand is there. It's just that nobody's ready to build them in the quantity that the demand is. And then my second thought is, wow, how much of that is California? Because our adoption
A
rate is
lot.
super high here. So, how much of the 5.5% is just one state?
Yeah, but then you also got to take into consideration, because I went through this myself purchasing the Ioniq 5, that yeah, California has the highest EV adoption rate, but you also got to look at where the automakers are sending their very tight supplies of EVs,
Yeah.
because the Ioniq 5, it was way easier to find one online in California than it was in my part of the country. And I know that was the same for the ID4 for a while, maybe not right now, but yeah, but still, what 30% of EVs are in California when it comes to American EV adoption? I think it's about 30% total of EVs
Yes.
on the road today. Yeah, in one state. Not quite surprising though. All right, so let me get to some more numbers that you guys care about. Here is the masterpiece, where you can see exactly how every automaker's EV sales numbers in the United States have changed over the past 1.5 years, almost 2 years of data here. Yeah, so these Tesla estimates are courtesy of Automotive News, waiting on official registration numbers to get that confirmed. But the rest of these numbers are straight from the automakers themselves. Let's go through and see if there are any surprises here. Ford increasing. Ford now at 18,000 EV deliveries in the third quarter. GM increasing by a lot, more than double, 15,000 EV deliveries. But we got to keep in mind, Ford and GM, the number 2 and number 3 EV sellers in America, are still way behind Tesla's 114,000. Yes, Tesla still leads EV sales in America. The supply chain shortage has really put a damper on how the competitors are able to try their best to claw back EV market share. But
But I think part of that, to be fair to Ford and General Motors, is they have split focuses. They're still making a lot of
yeah,
ICE vehicles and hybrids, and Tesla has a single focus.
yeah, that's
Maybe
true.
maybe two if you count robots, but really it's single focus EVs. So it's not like Ford's all their vehicle sales are 18,000.
Hmm.
They've got a lot higher vehicle sales.
And their highest margin vehicles are the combustion SUVs and trucks, not their
Yeah,
EVs. So,
exactly.
yeah, interesting. Moving on through the list, Nissan Leaf. Some good news is that we recently found out from a different Nissan executive at a conference that the Nissan Leaf is not going to be eliminated from Nissan's EV lineup. However, there are more rumors that it might undergo a change, maybe becoming a full on crossover. But it was previously rumored, that the Nissan Leaf was going to be out of here, but now it's going to stay. That's great news for affordability. It definitely deserves an upgraded powertrain. Get rid of that CHAdeMO charging. It's going to be hard to find a CHAdeMO charger in about 5 years' time. But look at their sales in Q3 here in the United States, down by over 50%. That is a big drop for the Nissan Leaf. Volkswagen Group up quite a bit, mostly ID4 deliveries. Also, the Audi e-tron Q4 e-tron has started deliveries, and then the traditional e-tron, you got the e-tron. What's the sports car one called?
It's yeah. I
I
have to
don't know.
look it up.
It's
Sorry.
too expensive for me. It's like 150 grand.
Yeah.
But and then the Porsche Taycan, that also is included in Volkswagen Group sales for the U.S. But you've got numerous variants of now. You also have the Cross Turismo one or whatever they call it. I forget. Hyundai Kia. This is the biggest shock of the Q3 delivery numbers, in my opinion. Hyundai Kia EV sales are down from 17, basically 18,000 in Q2 to about 10,000 in Q3. This is all because of supply constraints. The wait list for a new Ioniq 5 or Kia EV6 is very, very long. They're very tough to get. Demand remains high, but they just can't manage to make them.
There may be some about the $20,000 ADMs on those too.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. I had to fight very hard to buy mine at MSRP, but I succeeded,
Yeah,
and you can too. So,
you can.
join us on
They're out
the
there.
join us on the YAA Electric Vehicle Forum if you'd like to talk to the community about how to get a better deal on an EV. Sounds impossible at this point in time, but it is possible. All right, let's see what else was on this that really stood out. Stellantis still does not have a single fully electric vehicle on the American market. The Wrangler plug-in hybrid is the best-selling plug-in hybrid in America, but it's not fully
Mm.
electric. You've also got the Jeep Grand Cherokee plug-in hybrid selling quite well, and the Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid. But zero on the chart because they have no fully electric sales. That's interesting considering that the Chrysler brand is supposed to be fully electric in just 5 years' time. Hmm. Wishing them the best.
Yeah, when next year I think we'll see some numbers out of there. But let's not skip over the 400% increase in BMW there.
Oh yeah, point that out for us. Yeah.
That is very surprising. That surprised me a lot. Not that their sales increased. I see a lot of interest in them, but that it increased fourfold is fascinating. That
Yeah,
is the largest increase I think on this list, isn't it, by percentage?
that's a good point. Yeah, I didn't mean to skip over that. I think it would be by percentage. Yeah. Now that is because of the successes of the BMW iX. Yes, the i4 electric sedan is also out, but the iX has been very popular since sales
Yeah,
started recently. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share a different tab to remind everyone what the BMW iX looks like. I think it looks great on the inside, but ooh, I don't know.
yeah.
Got to
I've
build a
never
pond for that
I've
beaver.
never been a big fan of any of BMW's grills, and they just seem to keep going further at it.
Yeah, yeah. But hey, it's selling apparently.
Yep, people like it. Just because I don't doesn't mean a darn thing.
Yep, and the interior is great. I hear that the ride is just sublime. It's a
Hmm.
wonderful ride quality, especially for road tripping. Um, I don't know. Just wish they would make the exterior just a little bit different, but what do I know?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a luxury ride, so it's not like getting into a Tesla, which is luxury priced but mid grade.
Yep.
BMW knows luxury, and they're hitting it with this with the iX.
Yep, yep. And Volvo and Polestar sales, this number I just found just last night. 3,510 deliveries. That is down for the third quarter. So Polestar has not yet reached any kind of volume production, likely due to the supply chain issues in China where they build them. Um, Volvo, this also includes the Volvo XC40 and the Volvo C40, which are both fully electric. At least the XC40 has a fully electric option. Uh, yeah, I'm kind of surprised that their EV sales are declining so much because I think they're really, really great EVs. They are, especially the
They
Polestar
are.
too.
They make very good vehicles, very good EVs. So I'm sure it's a temporary dip.
Yeah. Um, yep, yep. Now Rivian is still like what we've been saying this for a year now. They're still ramping up production of the Rivian R1T and the R1S, but mostly the R1T. I mean, if you consider that they're just getting into the game, they've got one factory in Illinois. I guess 6,584 deliveries is not that bad. I mean, got to think
No,
about where they're at.
it's too bad that they had to recall all of them times
Yeah.
two. But yeah, it's not bad.
Hey, once we thought about how Rivian does have service technicians that are mobile and can drive
Yeah.
to you, that makes me a lot less critical of the recall. But still, it's a recall for every single
Yep.
EV sold. It's not the powertrain; it's the steering
No,
column, right?
the it's a coupling on the steering mechanism. Yeah. So
Hmm.
it's just you gotta tighten a bolt. It's literally one bolt that needs to be tightened.
Yes, and I think this is a good question that Justice, your expertise and experience might be able to help us think about. Why is Tesla able to sell all these cars, but other companies can't produce enough? You want to explain Tesla's advantage a little bit?
Well, the Tesla's advantage, for one, as we said, they are singularly focused, so that helps. But Elon has been sourcing materials for a long time, and they've got a lot of long-term contracts.
Sourcing
They've
EV
changed
materials, which is
EV
the
materials,
yeah.
yeah. They have switched up chips many times to get through the shortage. They write their own software, so they're able to write around some of this. Elon has discussed that a few times. So they, and they keep entering into more contracts. They're looking at even mining their own lithium. So Tesla's always been forward thinking on this because it's the only thing they do. So they have the advantage there, where everyone else is just getting into the game and realizing the shortages and everything else, and they don't have all these supplies in place already.
Yes, very, very good point. Thank you for that excellent explainer.
Mhm.
And then Mark has a little comment in the chat. So I guess the Mazda MX-30 isn't really selling even in California. Yeah, it's not really selling because why would you buy one considering that even the Chevy Bolt or Nissan Leaf is a much better deal as far as range and charging capabilities than the Mazda MX-30. That's what we call a compliance car. They build it just so that they can meet their quota for offering vehicles of a certain fuel efficiency for regulatory needs. Yeah, no one's really buying the MX-30, and I do not recommend it to anyone. I don't have
No,
anything against Mazda. It's just the range is under 150 miles. That's like 2014 numbers. Let's see, Mazda MX-30 range. Let me go over this real quick.
yeah, I think Mazda's an amazing company. I love their vehicles. The MX-30 is not one of them.
That is rough. Justice, guess what the range is? EPA certified for the 2022 Mazda MX-30.
Um, by your low estimate, I'm going to say 225.
Oh, 100 miles on the dot.
Oh,
You think
oh,
of
that's right, that's right, that's right. Because Mazda was the one who said buy the MX-30, and then if you need to take a road trip, you take the vehicle to the dealer. They will give you an ICE vehicle to take your road trip on. Then you come back and pick up your vehicle. I remember that now. Now that you say it's 100 miles, it jogs my memory. Yeah, that's insane.
and here's a quote from Mazda's own website. This is how they market the MX-30. Considering the typical American drives approximately 30 miles per day, the MX-30 was specifically designed to meet their needs. Yeah, if
Well,
you like never travel
so
ever.
that's the Fisker pair, right? That's what they're doing too. It's the urban mobility vehicle, low range because you're just supposed to drive it locally.
Yeah, but I'd bet that the Fisker pair would have at least 200 miles of range. I think in 2022 going into 2023 model year, 2022 is like as low as it should get considering the competition, charging infrastructure, but we already know that, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, 100
I
miles is come on.
yeah, but because of upcoming supply chain shortages when it comes to batteries and battery raw materials, lithium carbonate and whatnot, I don't think we're going to be seeing more and more EVs with 450, 500 miles of range like the Model S and the Lucid Air. I think we're going to see 250 to 300 being the sweet spot, and that's perfectly fine in my opinion. It means that automakers can produce more EVs. You know, you can make two EVs with 250 miles of range, or you can make one EV with 500 miles of range. And if that helps push electrification forward, I'm all for it. But we'll see about price. I don't know. It's already 11:35, Justice, and I'm gonna
No,
be
no.
on the Ray and Zach show in just 25 minutes time. I gotta prepare for that. I gotta make sure I know what I'm talking to Ray about. But if you want to see me again, I guess I'll see you there in 25 minutes. Thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to finding out what Polestar has to reveal with the Polestar 3 in a few hours. And we'll be back Friday.
I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in 26 or 24 minutes.
Yeah, as John says in the chat, wing it. That's what I always do, John. But
That
thank you.
that's hard to do with Ray.
Yeah. He asked me too many questions about EVs. All right. Well, we'll see you guys Friday. Thank you so much.